Hi there. Welcome back to Becoming Aware of Angels. I'm happy to tell you that we're already at session number 11. As I've been numbering these sessions for you so that you get them in some kind of an order. Today I'm going to talk about the angels of creation from Jubilees, the book of Jubilees. And I'm going to read to you from that book, and then we're going to just do a little bit of a discussion about angels at the point of at the beginning. You know, when angels were created by Jehovah, by Elohim, how he loves angels and he creates them, these spirit beings that we know so much about, but we don't ever get to see that beginning part unless we read the historical books like Jubilees. And so let's just read that right now. Jubilees 2, it's chapter 2, verses 2 and 3. And it says, Day 1, for on the first day he created the heavens, which are above, and the earth, and the waters, and all the spirits which serve before him. Okay, so he creates all of the spirits which serve before him, the angels of the presence, the angels of sanctification, and the angels of the spirit of fire, and the angels of the spirit of the winds, and the angels of the spirit of clouds, and of darkness, and of snow, and of hail, and of hoarfrost, and the angels of the voices of the thunder, and the lightning, and the angels of spirits of cold and summer, and cold, and of heat, and of winter, and of spring, and of autumn, and of summer, and of all the spirits of his creatures which are in the heavens and on the earth. He created the abyss, or the abysses, and the darkness, and the eventide, and night, and the light, dawn and day, which he has prepared in the knowledge of his heart. And thereupon he saw his works and praised him, and saw his works and praised him, and lauded before him on account of all his works. For the 7 great works did he create on the first day. All right, so what we have in this description that Jubilees gives us, which Genesis chapter 1 doesn't, it's a kind of a fill in. And it's something that I guess you might say it kind of goes without saying, in the sense of we see angels in the scriptures. They take prominent position of the will of God being done upon the earth, and we know they exist, and we've I mean, in the past sessions we've looked at the different some of the different jobs of angels, and how they act and react with humans upon the earth. But we take for granted they were created with no real wording in Genesis about that, but Jubilees fills that in and tells us, yeah, in fact, on the first day, we're talking the first day of creation, he puts those spirits into being, those angel spirits. Are they not ministering spirits? Hebrews tells us. And so I think it's kind of cool that we have the historical report of Jubilees telling us of that day of creation. And what a grand day it was. And, this isn't all of the angels, but that is when it's listed. If we look at the list, however, we've got the angels of the presence, and those 7 spirits of angels, the 7 spirits of God that we talked about in one of the other sessions. Those are the angels of the presence, the main angels of the presence, angels of sanctification, angels of the spirit of fire. Wow! And the fire that came down upon the 120 in the upper room, that kind of livens that up. And angels of the spirit of the winds and angels of the spirit of the clouds. Jesus went up in a cloud. Remember, two men were standing there as the men on the road to Emmaus were looking up and said, why are you standing here looking up? This same Jesus is going to return the way he went up. And so we're kind of like cloud watchers, aren't we? Well, those angels of the spirit of the clouds. And so many times people see angelic, what do you call them? The clouds come in the shape of angels many times. I mean, I can't tell you the number of times I've seen it on social media, pictures sent to me, texted to me, emailed to me, shown to me on cameras and photos and as well as phones now. But going all the way back to the beginning of our walk with Christ, we've always seen reports, or we've seen those clouds that take the shape of angels. And I have always believed that having read this, that's sometimes what they love to do. And but the clouds without those shapes, that doesn't mean that the angels of the clouds are not there. And of the darkness is another set of angels, and of the snow, and of hail, and of hoarfrost. Now, I was reading this here this past winter, and it was very cold here at our house in southwest Idaho. And our willow tree, just outside the recording studio here, there was a hoarfrost. And I was sitting here right where I'm sitting right now, and I was reading it, and I was looking out that window, and I looked at read the angels of hoarfrost, and I thought, that's such an interesting thing. And I looked out there, and the beauty of that willow tree and the hoarfrost on it, it seemed to come alive to me. And it was so beautiful. It's spectacular to see that. And I that day I looked, or that morning, in the next maybe an hour or so, I went outside and I looked a bit at the different trees and the hoarfrost and what it showed. It's so beautiful. And so we've got angels of hoarfrost, angels of the voices of the thunder. You know that one. I mean, that's a tremendous thing, especially if you're, I talked about being a watcher and you're a listener. When you're a watcher and you're listening, and if you'll listen to the thunder, you'll hear things that are of the Spirit, and of the lightning, and of the angels of the spirits of cold, and of heat, and of winter, and of spring, and of autumn, and of summer. Wow, isn't that something? And all the spirits of his creatures which are in the heavens and on the earth, he created the abyss. So there's a whole lot more that aren't listed here, but with this wording, all of the spirits as his creatures that are in the heavens and on the earth. And notice it says in the heavens, and that's really common phraseology there that is, if you'll study the phrases of the Scripture when it comes to heaven, generally speaking, we learned in unqualified religion that there's heaven and there's hell and there's earth, and that's it. But like in the Lord's Prayer, Jesus said, when you pray, say, Our Father who art in heaven, and that's the way it's translated, but actually it's plural. The Greek text tells us it's plural. The Hebrew, from the Septuagint, we learn the Hebrew word was plural as well. So it's heavens, and so there's multiple heavens, and we're not going to talk about that here, but we do need to see that it's coming through very clearly, which are in the heavens and on the earth. He created the abyss and the darkness, eventide and night, and light and dawn and day. All right, so what we have is the principle of all of these angels of creation. And in this session, all I really wanted to bring to you is the knowledge that wherever you look, you may be seeing something that's very natural. But do you hear the I guess the truth that comes through? He creates angels and those things. One would have to guess almost simultaneously, if not simultaneously. So if we're talking about the principle of hail and snow and hoarfrost, those are he specifically mentions angels of those things, but those things came into existence. All right, now what we don't know, it's not said here. Did he create the angels out of his heart, and then those angels produce those things? We don't know that. I doubt that very seriously. I knowing more about the creation from the biblical standpoint, I think it was more of a simultaneous. There was the clouds, the darkness, snow, hail, hoarfrost, and the caretakers of those things at the same time he's making them. The caretakers are the angels. And so what I really wanted to do in this session is bring out this wonderful view of how wherever you look in creation, and you are oftentimes drawn to beautiful things. And as you look at a beautiful thing, it's highly possible, if you will stop and become aware of angels and realize, that hoarfrost is really beautiful. That's what I did in the story I just told you. That hoarfrost is very beautiful, but I came from reading it here and I realized that there's angelic presence around me. And there's even angelic presence that possibly makes that happen, or illuminates it, or brings the beauty to it, or the voice of the beauty of the hoarfrost, and all of the great things that it does in creation. All of that together is intricate and interwoven into life. And I guess in this session, what I wanted to bring your attention to is, in creation, let's start looking at the beauty of creation, of those things, and let's see if we can't acknowledge the angelic spirits that exist because of the heart of the Father loving them into being. Loving them into being is his creative power. And so I think this is a very interesting thing to talk about, and it makes a good conversation when you're with friends and who are willing to talk about spirituals like this. And so anyway, I'm happy you're with us. Listen, Becoming Aware of Angels, this is session number 11. We'll see you in the next session of Becoming Aware of Angels.